Hello and welcome to Justice Insight Cam. Experience unscripted police encounters exactly as they unfold on body cameras. We go further than the raw video to uncover the legal facts and educational moments of each incident. Let's analyze justice in action.
Where did you get that uniform?
I'm in the Navy.
Do you have a military ID?
Of course, I can show you.
I don't believe you. You don't look military. You look more like a thief.
Dress whites, gold buttons, ribbons across the chest. Gas station parking lot, Saturday morning May sun beating down, everything freezes. 72 hours later the Pentagon gets involved. The Department of Justice opens a federal case, and the deputy who gave that order faces 62 years in prison. The man on his knees, Lieutenant Commander 12 years, Navy commanded a destroyer through 2 combat deployments, every second recorded on 8 different cameras. Before we go further, let me ask you this: have you ever been labeled before anyone learned your name? Drop your answer below, hit subscribe right now, because what the body cam captured that morning, what 7 witnesses recorded on their phones, what made a federal judge say the words you saw only what you wanted to see that's coming next. And it gets worse before it gets better. Lieutenant Commander Marcus Hayes, 30, years old, 12 years, United States Navy, surface warfare officer, qualified to command an Arleigh Burke-class destroyer, USS Porter Hall, number DDG 78, 2, Mediterranean deployments, 1 Navy and Marine Corps, Commendation Medal, with combat distinguishing device, the V for Valor. That medal came from Libya, 2019, civilian rescue mission, 40 miles offshore. 14 refugees in the water boat, capsized militia firing from the coast. Hayes took a rigid hull, inflatable, straight into the gunfire, hauled every single person out, 3 of them children, and got them back alive. That's who he was this Saturday morning in May. He's driving home to see his mother after 8 months at sea, 35 miles to go wearing his dress whites, because that afternoon there's a veterans memorial service. She asked him to attend. She waited 8 months, cooked his favorite meal, didn't know her. Son would be calling from a jail cell instead. Now let's talk about Deputy Kyle Brennan, 36 years old. Sheriff's Department knew, 11 years on the job, his file looks clean on paper, but in reality, 5 civil rights complaints were filed against him between 2019 and 2023. Every single one involving a black citizen, every single one closed without action. 2019, black pastor held 45 minutes at a traffic stop. 2020, black college student matched a description while reading in a park. To 21 black business owner questioned outside his own store. It's in 22 black teacher pulled over driving home from work. It's 23 black nurse stopped after a night at shift. 2 internal warnings buried in sealed records. 1 civil lawsuit settled quietly with a gag order, and Brennan walked away. Every time people in the black community knew. His name, knew his patrol car, knew to be careful that morning. 9 Crow AM Shell Station, off Interstate 95. American flag snapping in the wind. Big sign out front, reading, "We support our troops." 4 HD security cameras, recording 24/7. And here comes Brennan in his patrol car off duty. No call, no dispatch, just cruising through for coffee. Should an officer be allowed to patrol off duty in a marked car with full arrest? Powers comment yes or no, because what happens next turns on that question. Brennan walks out of the station with his coffee, sees Hayes at pump, number 3, dress whites ribbons on the chest, black man wearing them. And in his mind, it doesn't add up. Never seen a black Navy officer in this county, not once in 11 years. So he decides, right there the uniform has to be fake. He walks over, "That's your uniform." Hayes looks up from the pump-tired but respectful voice. "Even yes, sir. Just got back from deployment this morning. No thank you for your service." No welcome home. Brennan's eyes scan the ribbons, the medals, the jacket that says US Navy in gold. Letters across the pocket, You got an ID proving you're military, Hayes? Nods, of course. Sir, starts to reach toward his inside pocket. Same place. Every service member keeps their military ID, the exact thing Brennan just asked for. Hands up. Don't reach for anything. Hayes freezes, his training kicks in 10 years of it. Drilled into muscle memory. Comply, don't escalate, survive. The encounter sorted out later. Hands go up slowly. Palms open, officer. You just asked me for my ID, it's in my pocket. Brennan steps closer, hand near his belt on the ground. Now, sir, I just got home, I'm trying to see my family. I said on the ground bay, the gas station owner steps outside. An older man, maybe 60, wore an army cap every day for the last 15 years. Officer, that's a real Navy uniform. I know what they look like. Brennan doesn't look at him. An elderly customer at Pump 2, white hair, weathered face, USMC veteran ball cap, walks over, son. Those are real medals I served. I know a commendation ribbon when I see one that's a Combat V device. Brennan waves him back, step away. Sir Hayes looks around. 6 people standing there with phones out. Recording, one woman has her hand over her mouth. A man shaking his head, and every single one of them watching a decorated officer being ordered to his knees in a gas station parking lot for pumping gas. The security cameras mounted at 4 corners of the canopy recording in 1080p with audio Brennan's own dash cam in the patrol car running because department policy requires it anytime the vehicle's in use. In 7 smartphones held by citizens who know exactly what they're seeing. Hayes gets down on the hot concrete knees, hitting the pavement dress whites, touching the oil-stained ground metals, pressing into the heat, the same uniform he wore to the welcome home ceremony. 3 hours ago, now being treated like evidence of a crime. Brennan pats him down. Ruff pulls out the military ID, first full-color photo, holographic seal, RFID chip, embedded federal security features. You can't fake. Hayes's face matches, perfectly active duty status, printed right there. Then, the deployment orders, official naval station, Norfolk letterhead, Hayes's commanding officer's name, and direct phone number at the top dates of deployment return. Date stamped, every detail, matches what Hayes just said. Then the dog tag, stainless steel, laser etched Hayes's name and service number and blood type and religious preference, the 2 tags on the chain that every service member wears that clank together when you move that mark you as military. Even when the uniform comes off, Brennan looks at the ID, looks at the orders, looks at the dog tags, holds them up to the light. Those could be counterfeit. The gas station owner raises his voice. Now, officer, call his base, the numbers right there on those papers. This will take you 30 seconds to verify. Brennan ignores him, pulls out handcuffs, locks them around Hayes's wrists, metal clicking against the commendation metal, and walks him toward the patrol car, while every witness stands there with their phones recording, and nobody, not one person, believes what they're watching. If you'd been standing there that morning, would you have said something? Comment yes or no. The handcuffs click shut, metal against metal, 1 notch tighter than it needs to be. Brennan reads the charges, like he's done this 100 times. Impersonating a military service member. Suspicious activity, failure to comply. Hayes keeps his voice calm, the way his training taught him under fire. The way you speak when someone has power over you, and panic will only make it worse, sir. My commanding officer's phone number is right there on those orders. Call Naval Station Norfolk. This takes 30 seconds to verify. Brendan looks at him. You can tell it to the judge. The Vietnam veteran at Pump 2 takes off his USMC ball cap, holds it over his chest, and tears run down his face. A mother near Pump 4 turns her daughter away, covers the 8-year-old's eyes, and the gas station owner is already on his phone, inside voice shaking. I need to report what I believe is an illegal arrest happening at my station right now. Brennan walks Hayes across the lot, past the flagpole, where the American flag moves in the wind, past the sign that says, "We support our troops," in red, white, and blue letters, 3 feet high, and 7 phones follow them the whole way, recording every step, every angle, the dress whites and the handcuffs and the medals catching sunlight, and the man in the uniform walking like he's done nothing wrong because he hasn't 20 minutes. Later, they pull into the sheriff's station. Brendan walks Hayes through the front doors, and 4 deputies look up from their desks. They see the uniform first, then the ribbons, then the handcuffs, then Brendan, and not one of them says a word, but you can see it in their faces. Something's wrong, something's very wrong, and nobody wants to be the one to ask. The booking officer that day is Sergeant Mike Torres. 34 years old, 8 years with the department, 2 tours in Iraq, with the Army 3rd Infantry Division and the 2nd Hayes. Walks in Torres, knows he knows uniforms, he knows what real medals look like, he knows you don't put a service member in handcuffs without verification. Torres stands up from his desk, walks over, looks at Hayes' chest, sees the ribbons arranged in proper order, sees the Navy and Marine Corps Commendation Medal with the bronze feed device, sees the Navy Achievement Medal, sees the campaign ribbons, and every single one of them is in the exact position military regulations require, positioned with the precision that only comes from wearing them. For real, Brennan Torres says, voice flat. What is this? Impersonating the military caught him at a gas station. Torres looks at the uniform again. You checked his ID, could be fake. Torres takes the military ID from Brennan's hand, holds it under the light, sees the holographic seal, shift colors, sees the RFID chip embedded in the plastic, sees every federal security feature that makes these cards nearly impossible to counterfeit. And then he picks up the phone on his desk, dials the number printed on Hayes' deployment orders, puts it on speaker. Naval Station, Norfolk personnel, Command Petty Officer. Chen speaking, this is Sergeant Torres County Sheriff's Department. I'm verifying the military status of Lieutenant Commander Marcus Hayes, service number on file, here 45. Seconds of typing keyboard clicks through the phone line every second, stretching out while Hayes stands there in handcuffs, and Brennan stands there trying to look confident in Torres' weights. Sergeant Torres Commander Hayes is currently on authorized leave following an 8-month deployment aboard USS Porter Surface, warfare officer, qualified for command, current assignment standing watch officer, and tactics instructor. Service record shows Navy and Marine Corps Commendation Medal with Combat Distinguishing Device for civilian rescue under hostile fire. 2 Navy Achievement Medals, multiple campaign ribbons. He was recommended for promotion to full commander. Last month, may I ask why a law enforcement agency is verifying his status? Torres closes his eyes. Ma'am, he was just arrested for impersonating a military service member. Silence on the other. And then, I'm sorry. What Torres doesn't answer, just reaches over and unlocks the handcuffs, pulls them off Hayes' wrists, and when Hayes rubs the red marks on his skin, Torres meets his eyes. Commander, I apologize, this should never have happened. This should never happen to anyone, and it damn sure shouldn't happen to you. Hayes nods but doesn't speak, and Torres turns to look at Brennan, who suddenly won't meet anyone's eyes, who's staring at the floor. Like maybe if he doesn't look up, this will all go away. It won't type respect in the comments, if you think Torres did the right thing. And here's the bigger question. Should Brennan have been allowed to make that arrest in the first place? Off duty, no supervisor, no backup, just his gut feeling, and a badge drop. Your answer below. Naval Station Norfolk doesn't just hang up and forget, they call up the chain. Personnel Command gets notified. Personnel Command calls Naval District Washington. Naval District calls the Bureau of Naval Personnel. Bureau calls the Judge Advocate General's office. JAG calls the Secretary of the Navy Staff. And in 2 hours, 6 phone calls climb the ladder from a booking desk in Georgia to the Pentagon 4 p.m. That same day, office of the Secretary of the Navy. Brief that last 10 minutes, decision made in 3. Treat, this is a federal civil rights case. Notify Department of Justice. Prepare a public statement and get a Navy lawyer on a plane to Georgia. Tonight, Pentagon. Public Affairs sends the release at 4:47 p.m. The Department of the Navy is aware of the unlawful detention of an active duty officer and is coordinating with federal authorities, while Washington moves. Torres does something different. He drives Hayes home in his personal car, not a patrol vehicle. 5 miles of silence until they pull into the driveway, and Torres says, "We're not all like that. Thank you for your service." Hayes looks at him, tired, still wearing the dress whites that touch the pavement. "Thank you for seeing me." Sunday morning, 8:00 a.m., the Department of Justice Civil Rights Division opens a case file, FBI Atlanta Field Office, assigns 2 agents, and here's what matters. They are not investigating whether Hayes committed a crime, because they already know he didn't. They're investigating which federal crimes Brennan committed, because putting an active duty officer in handcuffs without cause under color of law, with a pattern of racial targeting, that's not a mistake, that's a violation. The agents collect everything footage from all 4 security cameras at the gas station, Brennan's dash cam, recording 7 phone videos from witnesses shot from 7 different angles, and they sit down with 11 people who were there, and every single one of them tells the same story. Hayes was polite. Hayes complied. Hayes did nothing wrong. Brendan escalated. Brendan ignored evidence. Brendan arrested him anyway. Then they pulled Brendan's personnel file, those 5 complaints that got closed without action, the ones that looked like noise on paper. Now they look like a pattern. 2019 black pastor in a church van, detained 45 minutes, no charge. 2020, black college student reading in a park held for matching a description that didn't exist. 2021, black business owner outside his own store, questioned for suspicious behavior. 2022, black teacher driving home from work, traffic stop that lasted an hour. 2023, black nurse after a night shift, same thing, 5 complaints. 5, black citizens, 0 consequences. And now a 6th case with video evidence and a federal victim. The pattern doesn't just suggest bias, it proves it while the investigation builds. The videos start moving. First upload hits Twitter at 11:00 a.m. Sunday morning. Caption reads, "Navy officer in dress whites arrested for pumping gas." 1 hour later, 200,000 views. 3 hours trending in Georgia. 6 hours, CNN picks it up, Fox News runs it, MSNBC leads with it. 12 hours, 3 million views, across platforms. 24 hours, and he shot justice for Hayes is trending nationwide, top 5 on Twitter. 48 hours, BC covers it, Reuters runs it, Al Jazeera airs it Monday morning, 72 hours after the arrest. Hug million combined views, and it's not slowing down, it's accelerating. Veterans groups respond first. Veterans of foreign wars issues a statement. American Legion calls for accountability. Iraq and Afghanistan. Veterans of America demands a federal investigation. Then the civil rights organizations joined NBO-ACP-ACLU, Southern Poverty Law Center, and within a week, 40 national organizations have signed a joint letter demanding prosecution. Hayes' mother does one interview, local news, sitting in her kitchen. And when they ask her what she was doing when she found out, she says, "I was waiting with his favorite meal. I hadn't seen my son in 8 months. I got a call saying he was in jail." Wednesday, federal prosecutors file charges, 5 counts assault on a military service member. Federal crime under U.S. Code. Title 18 carries up to 20 years deprivation of rights under color of law. Title 18, Section 2, 42, up to life if bodily injuries involved false imprisonment. Title 18, Section 2340, up to 15 years official misconduct. State and federal, up to 10, years. Hate crime enhancement pattern of racial targeting. Documented at additional years to every count, maximum combined sentence. 62 years in federal prison. Thursday morning, Brennan is suspended without pay badge and weapon. Confiscated Friday afternoon, the sheriff personally terminates his employment. No pension, no benefits. 11 years of service. Erased Saturday, 1 week after Hayes knelt on hot pavement in dress whites. A federal grand jury indicts Brennan on all 5 counts. His attorney tries to get him out on bail. The judge denies it. Brennan sits in county jail, the same booking room where Torres uncuffed Hayes, waiting for a trial. He cannot win. Was 62 years too much? Or was it too little for what he did? Comment your answer. 4 months later at the federal courthouse in Atlanta, the courtroom packed wall to wall with media and veterans and people who watched the videos and needed to see how this ends. The judge is a former Navy captain, 28 years of service, before the bench, and the jury has 3 veterans on it, 2 Army, 1 Marine. And when Hayes walks in and sits in the front row, wearing his dress whites, every ribbon in perfect position. Nobody in that room has any doubt about what they're watching. The prosecution plays the gas station footage first, 8 minutes and 14 seconds, uncut, no commentary, just a security camera view with audio Hayes pumping gas. Brennan approaching the conversation, the order to the ground, the handcuffs, the witnesses, speaking up and being ignored. All of it in high definition, with timestamps running in the corner. Brennan's defense attorney tries everything. My client didn't recognize that as a military uniform. Your Honor, the prosecutor stands up. What did the jacket say across the pocket? US Navy and the medals on his chest? Were they visible? Yes, and your client still arrested him. Silence, the lawyer pivots. The military ID could have been fake. My client had reason to believe the prosecutor walks to the evidence table, picks up Hayes's military ID, holds it under a UV light in front of the jury, and the holographic seal glows blue and gold, shifts colors when you move it. And then she takes out a card, reader scans the RFID chip embedded in the plastic, and Hayes's service record appears on the screen. In real-time name, rank, photo, active duty status. All of it verified in 15 seconds. In open court, a Navy uniform expert testifies next former Master Chief with 30 years in, and he walks the jury through every detail of Hayes's dress, whites the ribbons arranged in exact order of precedence, the devices positioned with POTS, millimeter precision, the insignia correctly placed, a combination of awards that you can only earn through documented service. This uniform was earned, not bought. A civilian couldn't get these details right. Even if they tried, Taurus takes the stand still in uniform. And when the prosecutor asked him what he saw when Hayes walked into the booking room, he doesn't hesitate. I saw a decorated officer who'd been humiliated for doing nothing wrong. The prosecutor shows him Brennan's incident report, the one that says Hayes was acting suspicious and resisted compliance. And then she plays the dash cam footage and Torres watches it again and says, what he said, the first time he didn't resist, he complied with every order. The report is a lie. Hayes testifies last, and his voice stays calm the whole time. No anger, no bitterness, just the truth in plain language. I didn't resist. I didn't argue. I did what my training taught me, comply, and survive the encounter. I survived enemy fire in the Mediterranean. I shouldn't have to fight to survive in a gas station in my own country. The jury deliberates for 4 hours. They come back with a verdict, guilty on all 5 counts. Brennan stands when they read it, no expression on his face, and Hayes sits in the front row and doesn't look at him. And Hayes's mother sits 3 rows back and cries, not from joy, from relief, from 8 months of carrying this weight, and finally being able to put it down 2 weeks later. Sentencing, the judge speaks for 10 minutes, and his voice is measured and cold. You saw the uniform, you saw the medals, you saw a man who had served his country with honor, but you didn't see any of that. You saw only what you wanted to see. You humiliated a decorated officer in front of his community for no reason other than your own. Assumption sentence is 62 years in federal prison, no possibility of parole. Hayes files a civil lawsuit against the county. It settles in 6 months for $18.7 million, the largest police misconduct settlement in the state's history. And when reporters ask Hayes what he'll do with the money, he says, "I didn't do this for money. I did it so the next black officer can pump gas in peace." 8 months after the arrest, Hayes testifies before Congress House Armed Services Committee, and he tells them something that stays in the record. "I have PTSD from combat, but the arrest was worse in combat. I knew who the enemy was at that gas station. I was the enemy in my own country." Congress passes the Service Member Protection Act. Law enforcement must verify military status through official channels. Before detaining anyone in uniform, Hayes' arrest footage became mandatory training material in 47 states. The Pentagon creates a 24-hour hotline for service members who face discrimination. Today, Marcus Hayes is a full commander commanding officer of a new Arleigh Burke-class destroyer, still serving the country that failed him that morning. Kyle Brendan is 3 years into a 62-year sentence in a federal supermax facility. No visitors, no calls, no way out. Mike Torres was promoted to lieutenant, runs a civil rights and de-escalation training program for his entire department. But here's the truth that should bother you. Hayes had advantages. Most victims don't. He had medals, he had Pentagon backing, he had crystal clear video from 8 angles. Most people who face this kind of treatment have nothing. No credentials that force the system to care. No evidence that goes viral. No federal investigation, no justice at all. So the question isn't whether this case was resolved correctly. The question is, how many people have to kneel on pavement before accountability becomes automatic instead of exceptional? If stories like this matter to you, hit subscribe. Right now, we're exposing these cases every single week, and the only way the system changes is if enough people refuse to look away. Drop a comment. Does the system need more change? Or was this case enough? And if you know someone who needs to see this, share it, because justice only works when we're all paying attention.
Thanks for watching our coverage. If you gained valuable insights from this case, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to Justice Insight Cam. Remain observant, stay safe out there, and catch our next investigation.